Hey everybody, it is me, Larasha, and this is going to be my first video on my Build a Nation by Word of Mouth channel on YouTube. So this is going to be a short video. It's just me explaining to my subscribers or anybody that's willing to open up to receiving the messages on why I am posting this channel and what this channel is, why I created this channel and what this channel is going to be about. I created this channel for a reason. I have been going on my spiritual journey, as well as me being, waking up consciously for the past 6 years. The past 4 years, I started all over, and then the past 2 years, I have been real deep into it. But my job here is just to enlighten the community, especially African Americans. I am African American. I'm from the United States. We are considered as the redhead stepchild, but we'll talk about that later on. My job here is not just to hit, the African Americans or the Manelan race, but to hit every race that is willing and open to receive the knowledge and the messages. And you are aware of, the deception and the lies that we have been sold and told in this world. So my job here is just to aware the community, enlighten them about the things that have been hidden in plain sight, going from the bottom to top. Like I said, build a nation by word of mouth. I completely believe in word of mouth is the strongest force that you can have. You just having that personal contact with the person and speaking to them and explaining to them what's going on. Because like I said, when you have a personal conversation with people, it helps them more to help understand than them seeing on the TV, with them being able to see your energy and having the more passion behind your words that you use, and whatever speech or whatever you're telling them, them being able to see the passion that comes behind it, that fire, that drive, that ambition. And this is something that I am very passionate about. A lot of people have been trying to get me to do this for a while, as well as it's been thrown in my face over and over and over and over. And when you have a spiritual awakening, you wake up to the purpose, why you're here, what is your job, what is your duty, and who you're going to help. So my job here is, like I said, to keep everybody aware of the things that the media, social media, the news, the elite, the opposers are not showing us. More about that, the reason why, like I said, I'm building this channel, because we are all aware that a lot of things is changing as far as the government, the education system, our food, just overall pretty much with the world is different. I'm 36, so I can see a difference from, when I was a child and who I am now. A lot of people are probably going to sit there and say, first of all, I am not racist. I love every race. Anybody that is respectful to me and very friendly, I give you the same respect back, and I'm friendly back with you. I don't have an issue with race, but I do know that race does hold a big part of the world, and that is something that cannot be denied, because it can't be denied, the fact that we still have cops shooting, African Americans. We still have cops, putting out the extreme force. And it's not just about cops, it's just the violence on a certain race. African Americans have been treated a certain way since the stories that they sold us about the slavery days. And we're going to talk about that on this channel as well. But I'm just more about, the truth. I'm about fairness. One of my friends that I met on Facebook, he calls me Madam Peace, because I am about peace. I believe that everything needs to be told. Everything that was done in the dark needs to come to light. And once that comes to light, then it starts a whole brand new beginning, and everybody can understand. At that time, you have a choice on a decision. Once you know the truth, you have a choice, you have your free will, and you have a decision that you can make on which way that you're wanting to go. But when that truth is hidden and things have been not disclosed to us, it causes people to live in illusions and vanities, and their reality is not really what they're living, and it just causes the whole world to be messed up. And you can all, regardless of what race that you are, can agree to that. Like, when it comes to people lying, people manipulating systems, people manipulating situations, which caused us all to end up being where we are now. So my thing really, one thing that I do want to say, this video is just going to be very short. I do want to talk about, like I said, I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things. I'm going to talk about religion. I'm going to talk about the government. I'm going to talk about spirituality. I'm going to talk about what your soul is. I'm going to talk about pretty much everything, aliens on this channel, all that information that is hidden in plain sight that they don't want us to be aware of, so we can make a decision on ourselves and we can make some type of change when it comes to overall changing this world. So Build a Nation by Word of Mouth, this is my baby. This is very, very important to me. Like I said, I have woken up to my spiritual journey. I know what my purpose is. I know what I was put here for. I am shy, so this is going to be something that's going to be new for me, but I know that is the shyness that I have. That is just a fear that's holding me back from being great. And then passing out the information to the people that needs to hear it, because this is stuff that needs to be heard. They're not going to show us on, TV. They're not going to publish this in the newspapers, because like I said, when it comes to the mass, the Manelan people, the African Americans in the United States, are the mass. So if it's a lot of stuff that has been hidden from us from the beginning since we were a child, they're not going to make us aware of the things that we need to know, because that will bring forth change. One thing that I do want to bring up on this video is this fact that as being an African American, one thing that you do need to take and pay attention to is because there is a lot of knowledge and a lot of information that's coming up to surface that's saying that our ancestors never came from Africa, and we were always here as the Aborigines before the United States and America was, before the United States was called the United States, it was called Turtle Island, and our ancestors were here. There is a lot of documents. Christopher Columbus never made it to the United States. He made it to Hades, which was the Caribbeans. The second explorer that did make it to the United States, in his journal, there is document evidence that in his journal, he puts in his journal that when he came over here, he only brought 20 African, which are the Moors, and we will talk about that later on, over here. And then when he came over here, the United States was already, which was Turtle Island, was already filled with copper colored Indians. And then if you, like I said, I'm 36. If you go back to your history and you go back to the things that you were taught in school, you would realize all the lies and the deceptions and the stories that they sold us when it came to who we are as a person, as far as our race. I can remember, when I was young, my grandmother, bless her soul, she has passed away and moved on, but I just know it's a lot of things that she has drilled in my head, which I'm coming to reality now in this past 2 years, like, okay, I'm understanding what she was saying, and she told me this stuff for a reason. But my grandmother, and my grandmother and her mother have always told me that we were Indian. And I remember as a kid when Jesse Jackson, went public saying that we came from Africa, we are African Americans. My grandma was so pissed off about that. And I just remember her telling me and my cousin saying, you are not African. You didn't fucking come from Africa. Excuse my language, but I'm just telling you what she said. She was like, you didn't come from fucking Africa. You just remember that you have some type of Indian in you. And I will tell you right now that you are Blackfoot Indian. And this is my mother on my, this is my grandmother on my mother's side. So when she said that, Blackfoot Indian, I have always questioned what is a Blackfoot Indian, because that is something that I have never learned when I was in school. You always learn about the Cherokee, the Apaches, and those other tribes, but Blackfoot, that is something that you don't hear unless you speak to other, Manelan people that's in the United States, and then you start hearing them saying that they're Blackfoot. But when you start doing the research, and the research that I have been conducting now, Blackfoot is Cherokee mixed with another type of race, as far as Indian tribes, because they had to merge those tribes together when they were, making them leave from their territory. So a lot of, our ancestors were forced to join a lot of new tribes, which caused them to, have new mates from different tribes that was not their original tribe. So Blackfoot is Cherokee, and then it would be, I have heard Apache, I have heard Choctaw. I have heard a lot of different things, but I just know I'm Blackfoot Indian when I come on my mother's side. And on my dad's side, we are Chickasaw, not Chickasaw, that's my kids. But my oldest 3 kids are Chickasaw Indian. Their dad and their mother is Chickasaw Indian. But my dad's side, we are Cherokee. That's what they are on that side. So Cherokee and Blackfoot is my race. So my thing is that there's a lot of documents that's going around saying that we didn't come from Africa, how this has been lies, and the government is not going public with that. There's a lot of other people, not just myself, but other people that is, pushing out this knowledge to help enlighten the Manelan people that is in the United States, as well as, like I said, not just the Manelan people, but other races too, because y'all do need to be aware. Even though if you are not Manelan, you do need to be aware of the truth, because like I said, all this information is going to be exposed. It's all going to be exposed by the end of the year. I have been telling everybody 4 months. If you're on my Facebook page, I've been pushing 4 months for a reason. But like I said, we will get more into that on other videos that I post. But I just wanted to touch bases on this, because this is something that I hold very dear to my heart. And this is really something that's very important for us as African Americans to really step back and take the time to, sit there and have conversations with anybody that is elders, anyone that's the age of 60 and above. And if you still have these people that's in your family, sit down and have a conversation with them. Ask them about their childhood. Ask them about what their mother and their father taught them, as well as, their grandparents and where they came from. And you'll realize that a lot of people that are African American that's in the United States has some type of Indian in them. And if they have some type of Indian in them, how can you be African American? And a lot of people are going to sit there and say, before you even get on my post and sit there and say, Dane Calloway has us brainwashed. It's not just about Dane Calloway, because Dane Calloway is just the one that's picking up the slack of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, because Malcolm X knew that we were Aborigines. Malcolm X helped wake up Martin Luther King and let him be aware of exactly what was going on. Those two people were two different people. At the beginning, MLK, Martin Luther King, was all about, I have a dream, let's, hold hands and unite. But once he started waking up consciously and he started becoming awoke, with the assistance of Malcolm helping him, he started realizing the game that we were in, all the deception and the lies that had been, been told to us about where we come from and what our real race was. Malcolm was well aware of that. When he said, for example, his famous quote, Plymouth Rock we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us. And when you were a child, they taught you that saying was, okay, yeah, you brought us from Africa. We didn't ask to come over here to the United States. So of course we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Y'all brought us over here. But that's a whole nother concept of what he was saying. So let me say that again. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. And what he meant by that is that we were already here. He knew that we were Aborigines. He knew that we never came, our ancestors never came off of a slave boat. That was all lies that have been told to us, and it's proven documents that's there in the National Archives, as well as the library, the Library of Congress, all this stuff that you have that's available to you, and you just have to pay a fee to get it. And that's the thing, is that Dane Calloway has took the time out of his life to sit there and go to these different places throughout the United States, getting these public records, and then putting them up to educate us about the information about what's really going on that we were not aware of. And when you start sitting there listening to his videos, that little light bulb should automatically click, because you should automatically remember your childhood and what you were taught in your history classes. And when you sit there and you think about what you have been taught in your history classes, as far as the Nina, the Pina, the Santa Maria, Plymouth Rock, the Pilgrims, all that shit is bullshit compared to what he's telling you, because he's giving you a lot of information that you were not aware of. Nobody never told us that there was Aborigines here in America. Nobody never never told us any of that. They made it seem like they painted it the picture that we came from Africa. And then when you go back and these people have done their history, and they do their history on their family heritage of where they came from, and them digging deep about their ancestors and their elders, they're finding out that their family was never slaves. Their ancestors were never slaves. They were always here. They were, half of them were farmers. The sharecroppers, that's what they called them, as well as owning businesses and all this other stuff. A lot of people don't like Donald Trump, but this is Donald Trump in the 90s. There's even a video that when Donald Trump in the 90s, he was trying to invest in the Indian casinos, because we all know that the casinos in the United States are on Indian reservations. He was trying to invest and buy some casinos. And he specifically says in the video that when he went to an Indian reservation, I believe it was in Maryland, he says, and don't quote me wrong, but it was something like this: when he got there, the Indians that he saw are not the same Indians that y'all taught him about. So what he meant by that was, when he went to that Indian reservation, he saw nothing but Manilan people, copper-colored Indians, on this Indian reservation. But all along, we have always been told that these Indians have always been this Hispanic color. But when you go into the history and you start pulling up all this document evidence, and you start doing your research about your culture, about who you are as an individual, and not what the imposer sold you, you sit there and you find out that you've been sold a dream and your whole life pretty much been a lie. And I sit here and I tell everybody that comes in contact with me that this is something very important that you really need to sit here and pay attention to, because when you sit there and you start doing this research and you start really paying attention to what's going on and what's hidden in the background, there's laws being written, codes being written inside laws and all this other stuff. And then you start pulling up all this information of things that they didn't teach you in school, but they told you this story, but they left out a lot of information when it came to them telling you the story that's in the book. And it should make you want to sit there and question. You should sit there and stop and say, wait a minute, what am I missing? Why did you hide and you deny me of this knowledge that was very important? This is shit that we should know, but they deny it and don't give us this information for a reason. Again, like I said, the mass, when it comes to the United States, that is the Manilan people. Regardless of what the censors say, if you sit there and you do your research, you see how the censors have always falsified their documents when it came to counting how many people was actually, as far as Manilan people in the United States. Like I said, so it's a lot of stuff that has been going on that a lot of our people that's Manilan is not aware of. So this channel is going to be more about, like I said, me pushing the awareness, me speaking the truth, as long as, YouTube does not edit my videos, because they are doing that, and I'm just gonna go off of Dane Calloway, because Dane Calloway is dropping bombs and when he drops some bombs, and like he says, debunk me, and nobody is debunking him. And what he means by debunk me, all the information that he's pulling out prove him wrong, and it's nobody that's proving him wrong. And so my thing is that if Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Dick Gregory, all these greats, these historians said the same thing, that we were always here, then that's something that you need to really pay attention to. Because if you are classifying yourself as African American, you are denying your divine rights to this land. If you are not aware that you were not in Africa, your ancestors never came from Africa, and you were always here, that changes a lot of things. That changes the whole ball game. So this is something that we as people, as Manilan, we do need to come together and really focus on this, because like I said, it's a lot of things that's changing, and it's going to change in front of your eyes, regardless if you want it to or not. But in actuality, everything is going to come to light. Everything that has been hidden in the dark is going to come to light. When everything, it's like karma. You reap what you sow. You see what I'm saying? So my thing, like I said, this is just going to be a short video of me just explaining to you exactly why I built this channel, why I'm sitting here and investing my time in order to push out information as well as videos. I just believe that us coming together, we don't have anybody else. And as far as, like I said, other races, we need you too, because like I said, not only have we been lied to, y'all have been lied to, and that's a whole nother ball game when it comes to you and y'all finding out y'all history. But I will also be talking about that on here. So my channel, like I said, it's going to be for people and it's not going to be for some people. And the people that it's not for is the ones that's going to continue to be like lost sheeps. So that's the way that I see it. Everybody is not going to rock with me. But like I said, a lot of people do rock with me, and they've been waiting for me to start speaking about this and going outside of Facebook and, you know, pushing that word out. So I do have this channel. Like I said, build a nation by word of mouth. Please share my videos. Please subscribe to my channels, because like I said, this is just the beginning. I am going to be pushing more information. I have a lot of friends that is backing me up on this and willing to take part of this, because like I said, I have helped them wake up, as well as them realizing that they've been going through a spiritual awakening too, and they feel like this is important. So like I said, once you go through that spiritual awakening, you wake up to your purpose, you remember who you are and why you came here on earth. And you know, there is going to be an event that is going to be taking place. This is something that they're not going to let you be aware of, but the people that are more on their spiritual side and more in tune with, you know, the spiritual aspects of life, they are aware, as well as you can feel it. Everybody feels that something's going to happen. Somebody's feeling that something big is going to happen, and it's coming. So my channel, like I said, is just here to help people, help them be aware of what's going on as far as the government, like I said, religion, the Anunnaki, the American Indians, you know, pretty much the whole shebang. I'm going to hit details on that on this channel. And I just want to thank you for taking time to watch my video. Thank you for supporting me. But just know that I did not forget, and I am coming strong. And when I say I'm coming strong and I'm coming with a purpose. Y'all take care, and y'all have a great day.